Motivation and inspiration. That's what we're talking about today. And how can motivation actually be killing you? I know that sounds a little dramatic, but hear me out. So in this video, you're going to learn 3 ways to live an inspired life and kind of put motivation on the shelf. All right, and at the end of the video, I'm going to offer you a resource that you might really enjoy to help find which area of your life may require an inspiration boost. So stay tuned. Hey, this is Rebecca Abraxas. I am in my kids' old bedroom here. Kids loved but stickers on wood furniture. This is something that my son did. He's really into building. He made this bridge. All right, and it's kind of fun. You can start to see crayons on the wall and all these different holes. It's kind of fun being in here. My husband's an artist and he's painted all kind of fun things up here, but the room really needs a makeover. Anyway, I digress. Today we're talking about inspiration, living an inspired life. And why this topic? Well, today in my inbox, I follow Abraham Hicks, and Abraham Hicks had a whole saying about inspiration. What's the difference between an inspired life and a motivated life? And I really want to dive into that. So first off, thanks for being here. Thanks for following this channel. And if you're not following this channel, be sure to subscribe and click the bell and like the video. And you can get more videos about conscious life hacks and remembering your power and your greatness through light language, awakening tools, and inspired songs. I'd love to have you here on the tribe. So thanks for being here today. So we're going to dive in right now about inspiration and motivation. I'm going to give you 3 things that are going to really be essential to live an inspired life. And then stay tuned to the end. So I'm going to send you to a resource that's going to help you have a little inspiration boost in your life. So, motivation, inspiration. Now, I am a trained wellness coach. I have a degree in exercise and sports science and a concentration in wellness. I have been trained in the area of motivation. And my whole life, people have always said to me, you're so motivated, you're so disciplined. And what I've noticed in my life is that a lot of times, if I'm living from really strict discipline and motivation, I'm not the happiest I can be. So what's the difference between living an inspired life and being motivated? Well, motivation is we're looking at the end product. We're looking at the end. And so we motivate to get the end product, which keeps us living in a future kind of hoping and longing for instead of really being here in the present moment. And we have to go through all this doing with, with diet and exercise or mental practices that we don't really like, but we're like, okay, I want the end goal. And a lot of times, guys, the reason I'm saying it's killing us is because with social media, everyone's putting the program that works for them online and saying, this is the way. But unless we go for that program with inspiration, we're not going to have the effects that program had on other people. If we just say, I'm motivated, I'm just going to do this without any awareness of our own journey and where we feel most inspired, it could really kind of backfire on us. And when I say it's killing us, if you think about certain supplement programs, I'm motivated, I'm going to take this, and that because this program says to. It actually, you could cause a liver problem, kidney problems. You actually could cause a spiraling down of your health if your body really doesn't require those things. So was I being a little dramatic? Maybe, maybe not. So motivation doesn't necessarily have awareness in it and doesn't necessarily have inspiration in it. So what's the difference here? Inspiration is you wake up kind of with this lit on fire and be like, yeah, let's do this. And every action, even if you're going for a future outcome, every action is inspired and feels enlivened. So I'm going to give you an example. In January, I tried to start a 30-day reboot program. 30 days of like shakes and not eating certain things and all that kind of stuff. And I tried to motivate myself through it. And it didn't work so well. There's a lot of different things that showed up, and I live with some teens and my husband who's not living that way. And instead of getting on my case, and instead of being like, okay, I'm gonna motivate and discipline myself through this and be miserable all month, I just kind of did the best I could, and then cheated a lot. But it's okay. And finally, February 1st started. I woke up yesterday and I was just like, I feel really inspired to do a 30-day reboot now. Now, I don't know if it's going to last a week or 30 days, but it felt so good to write my meal plan and to really like commit to it and just feel the inspired action of the day-to-day of what it would take to actually do this. Whereas last month, I was inspired to have the outcome, but I wasn't inspired for the daily action. And so I just allowed the trickling of what I did feel inspired to. So the motivation to have the outcome started. And then I realized I wasn't really inspired to really do all of it. So I did what I could in an inspired state, and then I let go of the rest. Now February's come, and now I'm really inspired to do all the actions that this program requires. And it feels so much lighter. Now, if I started in January and just motivated through it and just disciplined through it, it wouldn't have had this lightness to it. It would have been powering through it. I would have been more agitated. I wouldn't have felt as good. Now, alignment is everything. Alignment with your lightness is really important to really manifest anything in your life. So when we just motivate through life, it doesn't really give us the alignment that we're really looking for when we're on this journey of remembering our greatness, awakening, ascending. So motivation for people on an awakened and ascension path really isn't gonna work. So we live inspired. We live with this sense of lightness, and we live with this sense of alignment. Another thing today that happened was I didn't feel super motivated. I didn't feel super inspired to do a video today. I woke up just kind of on the wrong side of the bed. I had this like wonky feeling around this interaction I had with my son. So I was like, okay, so what is it going to take? And that's the next topic I want to talk about is like, what if you like have to do something? What if you have to wash a dish or have to pay a bill or have to go pick your children up or have to whatever, and you're not inspired to do it? That's when motivation, you might say motivation, I just got to motivate and just go do it. But what if you could trick yourself into being inspired? So let's jump on this. So you have something you kind of have to do. What about playing? So today, I didn't really want to do a video today because I felt really like just uncomfortable and kind of like pissy. So I did a few things that I know to do. I returned some of this to sender. I took a shower. I tuned myself with my voice to a higher frequency and started to feel lighter. And then I went in to do my morning routine, and I'm going to post that tomorrow about how I get ready for a video. And I really wasn't that inspired, but I just started brushing my teeth, and then I was like, let's have fun with this. And so I put the video up and started to do a morning routine video. And that was very playful. And then I got really inspired to, do the face, brush my hair, get ready for my video. So it's kind of fun. So how can you bring inspiration to whatever you have to do? And for me, getting creative and playing is a really fun way to do it. So a lot of times, this sounds kind of crazy, but a lot of times I narrate. Like if I'm cooking dinner and sometimes I'm not inspired to cook dinner, I start narrating like I am on a cooking show, and it just makes it fun. So how can you take something that you kind of have to get done and have fun with it and play with it and just be creative with it, so that it has an inspired energy to it, not just okay, we're doing this, gotta do it kind of thing, because that's not in alignment with joyful living. It's not in alignment with lightness. It's not in alignment with your awakening process. The next thing I want to say about motivation and inspiration is that motivation usually is coming from the ego, the wounded ego, and usually coming from what Eckhart Tolle calls the pain body. And that pain body can get seduced by fear and anger and frustration and things like that. So a lot of times those things can motivate us into action. And that's not a bad thing. That's a great thing, actually, motivating us into action. And that might be just where we need to be. Put the fire under our butts to kind of go make the next move. But the next piece after that is inspired living. And so if you're taking action from anger, it gets us to the next place on the emotional guidance system, right? It gets us to, some negativity. It gets us to a little bit of hope. It gets us to maybe some positivity. But when we're really remembering our greatness, we want to live an inspired life. And that comes from our soul self, our source self. It comes from being in alignment with our vortex, that vortex of all the wonderful things we'd like to experience, all the things that joyful living gives us. All right. So the vortex is what Abraham Hicks calls this kind of energetic bank of all the things that you think you would like to experience that would give you joy. But basically, the vortex is a bank of high vibration. And so if we can tune into that bank of high vibration and align with that, that's where inspiration is living. And when we live from there and we have this burst of inspiration to go do something, go be something, that's a little different than having our doing being sourced by pain body and a wounded ego. Like they're not good enough, or I'm not worthy, and I'm going to take this action to do it. So what do you want to align with? Lightness of being in source energy, or wounded ego, fear, anger, and all the pain in your life? So which one? So if you picked inspiration and you want to align with your lightness of being, then these next 3 tips are really gonna light up your life. Number 1, notice the outcome you would like to have in your life. Notice the outcome. Now, everything we want in our life, every outcome we want because we think it's gonna make us feel super good and happy. So think of the outcome. Then what I want you to do is get the vibration, get the frequency of that outcome. What does it feel like in your body? What does it feel like in your field? What do you sense? Get the frequency of it. That frequency, bring that into your now moment every day. Marinate with it. Think of it, then be it. All right, marinate it and ask yourself the question, what can I be, know, and do to be this frequency of that outcome today? And from there, you may have some inspired action toward that outcome, but you're already being the outcome energetically. And so when you ask that question, what energy, space, and consciousness can I be, know, and do to be the energy of the outcome and to be the outcome? From there, you will have the awareness of what to do next. And it'll feel really light and good, even if it's something hard. All right, number 2, be sure to sit with your source self every day. Every day, sit still, sit quiet with your source self. This is what I do. One hand on top of the other on my chest, and I just call in my source self. And I like to just call in my source self at the 144th, tuning in for me, by me, as me, and I just sit there. And then I expand that source self into every cell of my body and into every space around every cell and into my whole light body. And then I just sit there and I marinate in that frequency. And marinating in that frequency helps you live from that frequency throughout your day. Remember, I always say alignment first. This is a way to get in alignment with that source energy. So when you are ready to take an action, you're going to take it from the alignment of your source self. So it's going to feel really good and juicy. And from there, that's inspired action. So you may be inspired to eat a certain way, or to go for a walk, or to interact with a certain person. That inspired action will come from the alignment of your source self. And so from there, you're going to follow the little breadcrumbs that show up from being in alignment with source self. And that is living an inspired life. Number 3 is a little tool to do if you're not sure if this is actually motivation or an inspired action. You're like, it feels like both. Here's how you can tell. So 1, get the energy of the outcome, be that energy, right? Find your source self. And from there, write down on a piece of paper your action, like the breadcrumb that's coming up, right? Like, oh, I'm going to go for this walk, or I'm going to spend time with this person. For example, sometimes I call family members and I think it's an inspired action, and then I get on the phone and it just feels super heavy and things happen, you know how family is, and it's just, it's uncomfortable. And I'm like, why did I call? Sometimes we like the idea of something, but we forget to tune into the energetics of it. And then we have a lot of like responsibility or obligation that comes through. So this exercise would work with this. So you're going to write down, say, call grandma, and then write it on a piece of paper. And then you're going to hold it up to your solar plexus. And you're going to say, are we in alignment with this action today? And then you're going to feel your body either sway forward or sway away from it. Now, this is something called applied kinesiology. It's really cool. I don't really know exactly how it works, but basically your body and field will go towards something if it's in alignment with you, and it will back away from it if it's not. And you can do that with a piece of paper that you write your action on. You can also do it with food or supplements. So, is this an inspired action to take? Let your energy and body tell you by seeing if you move forward or back. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments if that makes sense. All right, guys. So these are the 3 things that can really help you go from motivation to inspiration. And inspiration is unique to you. You are put in the equation of inspiration. In motivation, you're trying to motivate to do someone else's program that may or may not work for you, that may grow your body or destroy your body in life. So we just don't know. That's why it's super important to get in alignment with your source self and become totally aware of what works for you, and trust that. And these 3 exercises will help you do that. Any questions? Let me know in the comments. All right, beautiful people, I promised you at the end that I would give you a little resource. Now, on my website, RebeccaAbraxas.com, there's a little funnel and there's a little quiz for you to take, and it says, what is your voice telling you? This little quiz has 3 different sections, and by how you use your voice, this is going to give you some information of where you could use support and personal growth tactics. And this is where you may find some awareness around where you could use some inspired living. Say in the emotional realm, you seem to have some challenges. So how would you support yourself there? So your emotions can really motivate you to do something, right? But sometimes it motivates you to do something that might be the long route to really getting what you want, which is that inner peace, right? And feeling really good about yourself and peace inside. So if your quiz came back saying, oh, I have to work in this emotional area, you would do some tools, or you would start to focus on things to help emotional intelligence. And then from there, you would find alignment more easy to find an inspired way of living and have more inspiration rather than motivation in your day. Make sense? So go to RebeccaAbraxas.com and go get that quiz. Find out what area of your life could use an inspiration boost. Be sure to subscribe and like, and would love to have you hear more. Thanks for being you. Thanks for living your best life. Thanks for taking the time to learn about remembering your greatness, because that is the energy that this planet requires right now to really go forth in this awakening. Guys, we are awakening, and there's some forces that do not want that. Stay strong. Alignment first. Keep remembering, beautiful people. The earth is really counting on us. So, namaste.